Zoe McCollum's legacy. So please help me in welcoming Kendall Moore to the stage.
Danse Edlanete, Kendall Moore, Nisigasun, Iguamagua Sahagan Otsinia. Hello, good morning. My name is Kendall Moore, and I'm from Makwasagagan First Nation. For those of you who might already recognize me, because I've come to your classrooms and taught your kids about various areas to benefit their mental health and wellness. I taught about understanding sleep, anxiety, and bullying. But today, I'm going to share my story with you. I would like to take a moment right now to thank the organizers. Thank you, Patricia, Liz, and Lisa, for organizing the Full Circle Conference. I'd also like to explain what's going on the slideshows. I'm not gonna show numbers or anything to you guys. They're just pictures of my life. So I understand that most of us are visual learners, and just watching something while I speak can help you absorb what I'm saying today. And I would like to provide a trigger warning. I will be speaking about suicide. I want to start off today by saying, if you need help, I have a list of resources that I share regularly. I have them here. Where can I leave them? I have lots of resources. If you want to give those out. So, the community wellness team at the Meadow Lake Tribal Council also has a booklet of resources that has been distributed. And if you're wanting more information, I can show you the booklet after I'm done speaking. So I brought those resources with me today. And if you want to take a copy with you home or into the classroom, feel free. I just want to take a moment right now for everybody to think about who those 3 supports are that they can call and speak to if they find themselves struggling today. If you're needing additional help, we do have the men's wellness team here, right up here at the front table. I also need to apologize that I'm new to keynote speaking, so I have literally everything that I'm gonna say written down. This is just how I cope. So I wanted to touch base before I started on the terminology that I'm going to be using. The use of died by suicide will be used to replace commit suicide. I will later speak on the Thunderbird Partnership Foundation, and they choose to use the term premature unnatural deaths, and that is not my choice. Additionally, I will be using the term stepdad and dad in this presentation. Only for today will I refer to my dad as a stepdad. Growing up, as one of my friends, if I mentioned a story that included my dad, it was up to you based on the context to find out who I'm talking about. So just for your knowledge today, I will be using the word step, but I was raised as we are all family, so there was no such thing as STEP. So, some background information. Stats Canada says that every day, more than 200 people in Canada attempt suicide. As Indigenous people, we experience 3 times more suicides than non-Indigenous. So to put that into numbers, out of 100,000 people at risk, 24.3 commit suicide. Now, this is not just a number. This is a loss of futures, dreams, and potential. The factors contributing to this crisis are complex, including historical trauma, loss of culture, and lack of access to mental health resources. We must not only acknowledge these challenges, but also work tirelessly to implement solutions to promote healing and hope within our communities. So I might look a little familiar to some of you. And if you know my mom, you would know that I'm a mini version of her. My mom is Calla Moore, and my dad is late Ryan Mitswing. I was raised by a single mom for most of my adolescent years, but that did not mean that we were short on support. I was gifted with our stepdad, David Larocque, who stepped up and has been an asset to raising myself, my sisters, and our little brother, who is his only son. I was lucky enough to be raised in a family that believed children deserved sober parents. My family, they really prioritized health and education. So in school, when they asked us what we wanted to be when we were older, little me, I was like, I want to be a rock star. And then an optometrist, and then a neurologist, then a lawyer, now a therapist. I graduated high school in Meadow Lake in 2018 at the Carpenter High School. My time there, I was told I left a legacy after noticing Indigenous injustice in our education system. I spoke up for Indigenous women capable of being our valedictorian and spoke about how our school is surrounded by reserves, but yet there is no Indigenous representation throughout the school. That year, the school began to include a drum ceremony to their graduation ceremony, in addition to the 9 Meadow Lake First Nation flags hanging in their foyer. Afterwards, I applied to the University of Saskatchewan College of Arts and Science, and I have been a student since. In 2020, my family and I suffered a great loss when our dad died by suicide. Since then, we've been finding our own ways to heal. I took a break from school after completing what I thought was my final 4th year. Since then, I've went back to school, and I've been taking like 1 course a year to get closer to my graduation. So I like to say I'm a 4th year student, but if you get technical, I've been a 4th year student for 3 years now. And I know everybody tells me like success isn't linear and we all take our own paths. But I couldn't understand that until I was faced with our own systemic challenges. Only 16% of Indigenous people graduate from post-secondary, compared to the 36% of all other Canadians that graduate from post-secondary. I remember when I was in university, I only ever seen other Indigenous students when I was taking my Indigenous Studies courses. I volunteered with the University of Saskatchewan's Peer Health Group, and I received the lead title role for Indigenous and people of color, but that was because there was only one other Indigenous member. I found being an Indigenous student, you're doing a lot of things alone. I didn't have the older siblings or parents that also went to the university, so I was finding myself around post-secondary on my own, and I heavily relied on what the student advisors were telling me. It's my Uncle Buck in the picture. Moving on. As Indigenous people, we face alarming suicide rates. And today, I want to share a bit about the heartbreak that suicide has left with me. My community went through a state of crisis in 2019. We were experiencing suicides at a higher rate than we could cope. During that time, I lost 2 of my cousins, one to cancer, the other to suicide, and immediately after, we lost our dad to suicide. I want to share a bit about who my dad was. He was the type of man who stepped up when he needed to. He supported us however he could. And he was a great hunter. My dad's choice of weapon was a bow and arrow. I've seen multiple videos of him shooting his arrow, making a more challenging target each time. One time it was a balloon. The next it was the hole in a keychain. My dad was a paraplegic. And his biggest fear was losing his ability to move the rest of his body. During his younger years, he was a talented soccer player. He played while he was in school at BIEC. I was told his team even went to go play outside of Canada. During that time of our loss, it was really challenging to cope. Searching for answers we weren't going to get. To me, it felt like we just got our dad back for him to leave. That whole year flew by, and I couldn't tell you what happened because I had later found out we were experiencing shock, the shock of losing so many people in such a short amount of time. This is called concurrent grief. And no, we all go through that. We don't always get the time to grieve each loss we have, and they keep piling up. As Indigenous people, there still seems to be this stigma for accepting help for our mental health. And I felt it myself. When we were dealing with our grief, my mom was pushing us to go see a family counselor, and I kept denying it. I don't need that. And I didn't think I needed it because I felt fine. I was keeping myself distracted. But years later, I found my grief was just as heavy as it was back in 2020. So I decided to find a therapist to speak about what was holding me back. What I found that's been working for me is I started to follow our medicine wheel teachings and try to find that balance in my life. So if you want to visualize your medicine wheel, starting with like my mental health, I found my therapist on a website called Psychology Today. My first therapist was pregnant, so we only had one session. The next one was also pregnant, so we only had 4 sessions. And then I found my third therapist, and she's Indigenous just like me, so we were able to relate to one another a lot faster than the others. I wanted to share that because I know a lot of people who stop seeking help after the first attempt doesn't go well, but we need to keep showing up for ourselves. Another thing that I did to benefit my mental health was to learn something new. I taught myself how to sew, and I've been sewing ribbon skirts, hair scrunchies, dresses, and even bandanas for dogs. The acts of repeating these simple tasks relieves my mind when I feel pressure or stress. I use the same techniques while reading or in the past playing piano. The reason behind this is because when we repeat simple tasks, our mind can shut off, our anxiety can stop because we know what is coming in the future. Moving on to the physical part of my medicine wheel. I had also begun taking care of my body, from physical exercise to eating the right food. And I've been through my own struggles with food growing up by not eating the right foods that our body needs. And that lifestyle eventually made me sick. I chose to stop eating red meat in 2014 when I was just 14 years old. I started to have fainting spells, and the doctor said I was borderline anemic, and then I was anemic, and it was just 2 years of fainting randomly. And it was because of not eating what my body needs. So I changed my diet so I'm getting the right amount of iron. And to this day, sometimes I still struggle with food, but I'm no longer at that point where I eat very little with no nutritional value or experience fainting spells anymore. And I spoke about being distracted after losing our dad. But going to the gym really cleared my head. I was able to transfer those emotions I could not express verbally, physically, through running and weightlifting. And I was lucky enough that I have a partner that's basically my free personal trainer. And because of him, I knew what exercises to do to achieve the goals that I wanted. And he really pushed me past my comfort zone. So moving on to the spiritual part of my medicine wheel. My spiritual health has always been more unbalanced than other parts of my life. But within the past few years, I've been exposed to different techniques where I can express my spiritual health. So one example is going outside and connecting to Mother Earth. That was one of the ways that I was able to connect to my spirituality. I've begun to attend each full moon ceremony in our communities, and I've begun to attend sweats. Thank you also to the elders this morning for the pipe ceremony. I started to pray and smudge more often. And in addition, I was taught a variety of grounding techniques, which I'm gonna make you guys all do it with me. So the first one is mindful breathing, the 3x3 rules next, and then deep belly breathing. So we're gonna start with mindful breathing. I want you all to sit with both feet planted on the floor, back straight. You can close your eyes, keep them open, whatever you want. This is more for people that are visual, okay? So what we're going to do is we're gonna imagine we have a little bubble, and it's gonna go right on our right big toe. We're gonna have another bubble. It's gonna go right on our left big toe. Now, what we're going to do, with every inhale, I want you to imagine that bubble grows just a tiny bit, and then when you exhale, just a tiny bit smaller. And you're gonna continue doing these deep breathing exercises until that bubble has covered your whole body. I'm gonna burst your bubble. Just kidding. The next one, I like to teach this one to our teens. It's the 3x3 rule. You might have heard it in other contexts, like the 5 grounding techniques, using your senses. But I call it the 3x3 rule, so we're gonna use 3 senses today. The first one we're gonna use is touch. We're going to feel 3 different things that have a different texture. So 1, 2, and 3, okay? Now, we're gonna use sight. We're gonna look for 3 things that are the same color. So 1, 2, 3. And then sound. I'll keep talking so you guys can count me as a sound. We're gonna listen for 3 different sounds. 1, 2, 3. Now, this last one is deep belly breathing. I like to teach this one to our little guys. It's a lot easier for them to do. So we're gonna plant both hands on our tummy. Okay. Now we're gonna take a big inhale and feel our tummy fill up with air. And then exhale, feel your tummy go down. Okay? And then we just continue practicing that. Another technique that I like to do with small guys is we smell the flower and we blow out the candle. So we have the flower, we smell it, and we blow out the candle. Good job. Moving on to my emotional health on the medicine wheel. So emotional health was kind of a new concept to me in my healing journey. I could remember my therapist asking me to fill out my medicine wheel, and I had nothing in emotional wellness. And she then explained to me, this is the reasons why you laugh, cry, feel loved. To me, I feel the most love and happiness when I'm with my family. But if we want to get like really specific, my 3 nieces and my brand new baby nephew, There's kind of a funny story behind that, because when my oldest sister told us that she was pregnant, I didn't take it well. I crashed out. I'm the baby girl, so having a new baby come in, I was not having it. I packed my stuff, moved out of my mom's house, and I went to go live with my stepdad until the baby was born, and she was okay. So now we're inseparable. That's her on the left. Yeah. We're inseparable and might have overreacted. But I'm so blessed to have these girls and little boy in my life. I just want to update you guys on where I'm at now. Today, I'm still a student at the University of Saskatchewan. As I've mentioned earlier, I've been slowly completing my degree, my master's in psychology and my minor in Indigenous studies. I also work with the Metal Lake Tribal Council. I newly accepted a position as the community counseling support. But for the last year, I've worked as their youth and elder support worker. And that position, I was able to go around to our Meadow Lake First Nations, and I spoke to our youth about various areas to benefit their own mental health. I practice photography in Meadow Lake area under the name Miusu Photography. As I mentioned earlier, I taught myself how to sew, and I did that on my grandma Cecile McCollum's sewing machine. I think it was like from the 1980s or something. It was really old and heavy. And I quickly learned how to make ribbon skirts with my own touch of design, and I've been slowly gifting skirts to all the women in my life. More about me, I'm a cycle breaker. I've broken the cycle of abuse, substance abuse, and emotional abuse. But grief is something that we continue to work at. But using the lessons I've been taught and the stories that I've heard has provided me with the strength to share our story today. And what I like to teach our kids when I speak about grief and loss is grief isn't a set time. Grief is not linear. There's the 7 stages of grief, but we don't always have to go through all 7 stages. My grief is different from your grief. We could be grieving the same thing, and it could be completely different stages we go through. But the end goal that we all want to achieve is to view this loss rather than in a negative light, in a positive light. So what I teach our kids is when we get cut off a team, okay, this is the loss, we got cut. We can think maybe we're not good enough for this team, but you want to switch it to the positives. Maybe there's better opportunities out there for me. This wasn't the team for me. There are other sports out there for me. Today, I want to flip the narrative. We've heard about suicide prevention, but what about life promotion? We need to begin promoting life as opposed to preventing deaths. Life promotion is what I've shared with you today. It's the act of providing an Indigenous perspective on how we can live a long and healthy life. This holistic approach addresses our spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical wellness. A study done in 2021 found that 70% of adults and 61% of youth have had a family member or friend attempt suicide. As Indigenous people, we are disproportionately represented when it comes to suicide attempts and premature unnatural deaths. It is important that we model healthy lifestyles so our young people can see us connecting to land, self, community, and spirituality. I brought a resource with me today. This is the Life Promotion Toolkit by Indigenous Youth, Thunderbird Partnership Foundation. I'm going to leave it here if somebody wants to look at it. The Thunderbird Partnership Foundation created a Promoting Life Toolkit made by Indigenous youth. The group titled themselves the Youth Action Group. And in this toolkit, they share ideas on how regaining culture and community benefits our well-being. They share many ways to connect with the land, like full moon ceremonies, picking medicine, or living on the land. How to connect with oneself through learning our language, speaking to ourselves kinder, and prioritizing self-care. Additionally, they share how to connect to your community through mentorship programs, community events, and even visiting. Lastly, this youth action group shared how we can connect to spirituality in our ceremonies. The youth action group from Thunderbird created this book so our youth can share what they need and want to promote their lives. Thunderbird created this book. Our youth face 6.3 times more higher rates of suicide than non-Indigenous youth. We're growing out of a generation where men were told they cannot cry. People can now seek help when nothing feels all right. We need to show our youth that it's okay to have a few bad days, and it's not the end of a life. The resources that I've shared with you today, I have a list of areas on where to find help. There's a suicide crisis hotline. Their number's 988. The Kids Help Phone, Hope for Wellness, Talking Stick. They have a website and an app. The Daily Difference app, Indian Residential School Crisis Hotline, Native Youth Crisis Hotline. And then Psychology Today is on that sheet also, and that's the website I use to find my therapist. But if you don't want to use a website like that, I also do have the most updated list of all the NIHB therapists in Saskatchewan, if you'd like to take a look. So to end this off, I know you guys are in for a treat today. Red Talks is such a healing event. Hearing from our youth is so empowering, and as adults, we think we know so much, but we forget what it's like to be young. The youth in Red Talk are making movements in their intergenerational health. These youth are healing bloodlines, and I'm so proud of each of them for stepping into their power and sharing their truth. This is our future. We need to encourage our youth to share their stories. One of our elders told me that when she was a little girl, her elder said that you have to share your story. If you keep it in, it'll eventually make you sick. Our youth are healing us, themselves, and future generations. Thank you for listening to me today. I wanted to explain my shirt, what I'm wearing today. I was sponsored today by Hawkwear, by Leon Crooked Neck. And he has sponsored the conference with 10 matching t-shirts and an Oilers duffel bag. I don't know who's an Oilers fan. So my shirt, it says don't give up. And this story is kind of freaky because on Monday, I went to go see my mom after we just had a birthday dinner for my partner at his parents'. And she was getting these shirts ready for me, and I showed my sister this shirt. She's like, "Is that what that says? Does that say don't give up?" I was like, "Well, I think so. I don't know Crease Slavics." And then she rolls up her sleeve, and then she just got that tattooed on. Like, literally this was on her wrist. And she said that she got a reading recently, and that was her message. So I think that's all I have to share. Thank you for listening to me today. If you would like to come see all my resources, I have literally a whole binder of stuff. So don't be shy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kendall. Masicho. Appreciate it. You did a good job. Make sure you make some printouts of that resources. You know, it takes a lot of courage to come up here and talking to her. She was very nervous, but she did a good job. Hey, let's give her another round of applause here. It's not very easy to be able to public speak, but we've also got a gift for you. Liz Reed is going to give you a gift. Thank you for coming out here and sharing your story with us. You know, especially talking about something that is difficult as suicide. It's something we're all affected. And, you know, it gets heavy talking about this stuff, hey? We're always hearing about it. But please understand that the more we talk about it, the more it becomes easier for us. That is the objective. You know, maybe in that process you're dealing with your own grief and you're able to find something. Sometimes we tend to, man, I heard this already, you know? So let's be mindful of that our young people that are going to be up here later on, that they can make it easier. We talk about the next 7 generations so we can have these conversations. Our elders and our grandparents, they didn't have those conversations, so we've got to do it. We are the grandparents right now, and think of it as we're raising our grandchildren. We're doing this for our grandchildren. You know, so that's some of the messages today from our test. Oh, I thought you cut me off there. Okay. So thank you once again, Kendall Moore, for that presentation. And also, don't be shy to go talk to her, see what kind of resources she got. Make sure you can take that back to your community as well. Thank you very much. So we are, where's my agenda here? Let me pull up my agenda. Apologize. Okay, so we're pretty much, we were 5 minutes away. She finished early, and we're going to go into our next speaker as well. You want to just keep it rolling? Yeah? Okay. So we're going to keep things rolling here, go into our next speaker. I'm going to ask Liz Reed is going to come on up again here and introduce our speaker, 9:45 time slot here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
We're not on? Oh, yeah, we are. Thanks. Thank you, Kendall. I don't think I could have set the stage better, not only for our youth, but for the audience, for what's going to happen this morning, what you're going to hear. So thank you for that, Kendall. It was almost like, don't stop talking. She's just so sweet. It just drew me into listening to her. So thank you so much, Kendall. So now I get to introduce Cody. So he has a whole sheet here, but I've had the opportunity to work with Cody for the last 2 years. This is only my second year chairing our Red Talks. It was handed over to me a couple years ago, and Cody came with the team. And I don't think I could do Red Talks without Cody. He inspires the students, he motivates them, he supports them. Last night, we had supper with the kids and we came in here to practice because this is a very different venue for our students than what they're used to. So at 11, the lights are gonna be off. We're gonna put the spotlight on the stage so that it's a little bit more comfortable for our students. But the first thing they said was like, where's Cody? I'm like, he'll be here. And then I seen him on social media. Yesterday he's in Kenora. So I wake at 3 a.m. I'm like, I hope Cody's plane gets here. Because I can't do what Cody does. So Cody's name is Ogama, and he's a proud Nihio Cree from Samson Cree Nation. With 5 years of sobriety and a powerful journey of healing from severe trauma, Ogama has transformed life's challenges into a message of resilience, hope, and empowerment. As a music artist and motivational speaker, Ogama has performed and shared his story across Turtle Island, using the transformative power of music and storytelling to inspire change. Rooted in Nihio traditions and a deep connection to community, Ogama is committed to breaking cycles and creating new ones, empowering individuals to reclaim their power, embrace healing, and walk confidently on their unique paths. A passionate advocate for his Indigenous peoples, cultural revitalization, and healing, Ogama blends his traditions with modern approaches to healing and transformation. Through workshops, high-energy performances, and inspirational speaking engagements, Ogama fosters growth, resilience, and inspiration, helping others rise with strength, purpose, and pride. So please help me in welcoming Ogama to the stage.
Hello, everybody. I was just laughing because Hillary was looking at my picture. I guess I should have smiled a little bit harder so you could see my teeth at least. All right, I'm gonna probably. I'm a very handsy speaker, so I'm gonna try this for a little bit, see how it goes. But you know, when I'm in front of my people, you know, I'm blessed. You know, I'm grateful, and I'm loved. You know, and Creator guides me. You know, the Most High guides me in a good way now. And Creator, you know, our relatives, our ancestors, they're here with us. I truly believe they're here with us today in this building as we collectively gather our energy, our good energy together. And you know, when I say that even more, you know, say it with me if you want. You know, I am blessed, I am grateful, I am loved. You know, saying that in the presence, knowing that our ancestors here, that Creator is here with us, it's that connection that has been able to guide me on this journey. And you know, I didn't know, I'm a freestyle speaker. I'll go into an event and I'll read the room, I'll feel the energy. And I don't know where this is gonna go today, but I asked Creator to guide my words and give me the words that need to be heard today, because I transfer from my story to the tools that I use to stay on this good journey. But my story is equally as important, so my people know what I was able to break out of. Because I will always be broken. I will always be broken. I know that. My pain, my trauma, it's not going to go away. I experience it every day. So I will always be broken. So it's my mission to make sure I'm still continually piecing myself back together every day for the rest of my life. Because for too long, I wore my trauma. I wore my pain. And I had absolute control over me. Because this pain, this trauma, it was fueled by alcohol. The only suppression that came was through alcohol. Through my drug of choice. You know, this was where I was at in my life, stuck in this cycle, not knowing if I'm going to be here the next day. I was a broken young man. At 17 years old, on my 17th birthday, I was involved in a drunk driving accident. This accident took the life of the driver in the other vehicle. This day completely changed my life forever. In a blink of an eye, in just a flash, my life changed forever from this point. Even though I wasn't driving the vehicle that collided into this vehicle, I held an immense guilt, thinking, what if I would have did this? What if I didn't have my party? What if, just thinking of all these things, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Maybe I wouldn't have had to see what I saw that morning. Wouldn't have to hear the scream of a mother losing her son. You know, this day brought trauma that lives with me every day. Every day I get triggered. Every day I'm constantly finding a way. How do I rise above? You know, these are happy tears. These aren't tears of sorrow. These are happy tears because I have found that way. That day now motivates me to be the change. So our kids, our children never have to go through what I went through. But I wore that for a very, very long time. And wearing that, it made me run away. It made me run away. And in the process of this, I ran away into the street life for a period of time. You know, I wasn't a very good partner, never have been, was never a very good, partner in relationship. You know, I had my first son 7 months after the accident at 17 years old. And then I had another boy when I was 18, a year later. 2 different baby mamas. Yeah. I know. Just kidding. But I was not a good father. I was not there. I was not present. And I brought my babies, my sons, into my trauma. You know, as hard as I tried, because I'm telling you, I tried to be there for them. I tried to provide a life for them. But that bottle, that pain just kept showing up. And before you know it, it controlled how I was a father to my kids, to my sons. I had absolute control. It made me selfish. It made me selfless. It made me a narcissist. It made me a manipulator. That's the power of alcohol. We always have to remember the power of alcohol and what it can do to us. You know, but that's what it did, and it led me. I was running away. I was running away, not being a father. It led me into that street life. You know, just to support my habit, you know, because when anything went wrong, I ran away. I ended up leaving. I ended up splitting up with my first baby mama. because of my stupidity. And I always had to make myself the victim. Always. I made myself the victim out of that situation, even though it was my fault. And I ran away. I got into the street life. Started messing with some pretty real dudes. I got into drug dealing. Slanging drugs just to feed my habit to my own people. That stayed with me for a long time. Remembering, handing pieces to my own people. That still stayed with me for a long time. It's this journey of destruction that you see in many of us. That was me. And that's the way I was going. No matter how good that I started doing for myself, my cycle always came back and it always conquered. And I really thought that this was my life. I would do so good and I just counted days. Oh man, something's gonna happen. I'm gonna fall off. That was just me. I was like, I'm doing good now, but I know something's gonna happen that's gonna make me fall off and I'm just gonna restart again. That was my cycle. That was who I thought I was. And I did this for a very, very long time. And things always had to happen. I was always bad. I always had to get a reality check by hitting the lowest point of my life. And I'm going to try to speed things up here because I could talk for hours. I'm telling you guys, I could literally talk for hours, but I have 40 minutes to try to get my story and the tools that I use across to you all, but I'm going to speed through a lot of things. Luckily, through this journey, I got introduced to music. Up until I got introduced to music, I was like that annoying guy at the parties. I would be like freestyling in the air. That was me for a really long time. And then I got introduced into music, and I love telling the story. I'm going to really quickly tell you guys this story. When I went home after something bad happened, I just got cheated on. I was with Winnipeg's Most. You guys must know who Winnipeg's Most was. I was on tour with them for a while. I ended up getting cheated on, but I deserved it. I finally felt what I was dishing out. So I was just heartbroken, though, just thinking it was the worst. And I called my mommy. I was like, Mom, I need to come home. And all the time, my mom never gave up on me. She said, yes, my boy, come home. So I came home, and there's this desktop computer that she had there, real big. You guys remember how big our computers were? Real big screen. And then I ended up, we also had a USB mic, just like this. The USB mic, just like this. It was like a stick. We'd use it to chat on MSN Messenger, Yahoo Chat. All you guys just reminiscing. Hillary's name was probably Baby Girl 33. We use this USB mic for this, but I ended up finding out that through a software, I could take beats off of YouTube, and I could put my voice over these beats with this USB mic. And before you know it, I started writing, and that was the key. I started writing out my feelings, because I started making songs that allowed me to release what I was holding in. This was my introduction to my outlet. I wanted to sound as best as I could with what I had, and I remember all the time I would go up to my mom's room. My mom's Bonnie McLeod. She's manager at Samson Community Wellness. She's an amazing woman, just powerful. I'm gonna cry just thinking about my mom, because damn, she's so powerful. And she never gave up on me, you guys. And I remember she would always just really businesslike back in the day, and she'd always wear pantyhose, and I would go up to her closet, I would grab a clothes hanger, and I would literally wrap that clothes hanger around this mic, just like this, and I would take her pantyhose and I would wrap it around the hanger, and I'd have a makeshift pop filter, so then you wouldn't hear my breath when I'm trying to record this music, eh? And one day I was downstairs trying to be a rapper, and I heard my mom from the top of the stairs, "Where's all my pantyhose? Who's taking all my pantyhose?" She was just like, "What's going on here?" She was like, "I just said how many?" It took a little time. She finally figured out that it was me taking all her pantyhose. And One day she threw me a couple packs. She was like, "Hey, quit taking my pantyhose now." But that's my mom. She always supported me. This was my outlet. This was my introduction to this outlet in my journey. And it took me to, across Canada with a group called Res Inc. It took me, introduction to Winnipeg's Most, going on tour with them for a while. But that good healing that I was getting from that introduction to my outlet, it turned to bad because I started making music about partying, about drinking. But it was still getting noticed. That music was still getting noticed. And that's where I took it. I ended up going down a bad route with my music and connecting to be in the club scene, to be hanging around with Winnipeg's Most, to be accepted in that way. So when I got cheated on, I was out in Winnipeg and I came back home, and this is where my life started to turn. I knew this reality check showed me I want to be a dad for my sons. I want to be there. At this point, I'm already dabbling drywall taping. I'm a drywall taper. I know the basics of it. And I said, I want to get to Edmonton so I can become a tradesman in drywall taping. And as I'm going back to Meadow Lake, on February 12th, I get introduced to my wife now. You guys don't know, my wife is Miranda Wigton. She works at MLTC as well. She's in the finance department. She probably makes your checks, yeah. But no, she's an amazing woman, an amazing, amazing woman. I met her on February 12th. She sloughed me off on February 13th, didn't answer my messages. On February 14th, she's like, finally, fine, I'll see you again. And that night I said, you're mine. I didn't say it like that, but that night I made it official. And I asked her, and that's our anniversary is on February 14th, Valentine's Day. It's amazing. I convinced her I didn't convince her, I asked her. I asked her, to be with me, but at the same time, I knew I wanted to get to Edmonton, so I asked her, I really want you to come to Edmonton with me. I want to build a life over there. Obviously, I can't force you, but, surprisingly, she agreed. So we were like two young lovebirds. We ran to Edmonton, and her mom, Tammy Whittington's in the back, trying to hit me with a stick. She didn't like it, but, this is how we started our life. And we went to Edmonton, and we created a beautiful life together. We had 3 beautiful kids. We moved from the ghetto. I literally took Miranda into the ghetto. That's our first place. And if you know Miranda, she's not from the ghetto. But we built upon that. That ghetto apartment turned into a better apartment. That better apartment turned into a duplex and a house and so forth. We built a life together. And we had 3 beautiful children. But during this process, though, you guys got to remember that I am still unhealed. I have not approached my healing in any way whatsoever. I'm still battling with this, and I'm constantly bringing it into my family that I'm creating with her. I'm constantly putting them in this cycle of doing so good, but losing it all because I can't stop drinking. Many times I put her through the stress of almost losing our house, because I can't pay rent or I'm not going to work, losing jobs. Like, this is the life that I put her through, that I was putting her through constantly. And I wasn't a good partner. I wasn't a good parent because of all of this, and I realize that now, and I can say that now. So we had our good moments, we had our ups, we had our downs. I was sober many, many times during the course of our relationship. It wasn't until 2019, I'd made a song called Life of a Native. And in 2019, my friend, he pushed me. He's like, you got to finish this song, man. This song is so powerful. You have to finish this song. And I was like, all right. I sat on that song for 3 years, since 2016. So I finally decided I'm going to finish Life of a Native. We finally finished it, and it's just like, I was like, man, this does have the potential to be a huge song for my people. So I decided with this song that I'm going to get back into music. And I'm going to shoot a music video. And we ended up shooting a music video on Flying Dust during their powwow in September 2019. But the thing is, you guys, is that before this decision to get back into music, I also made the decision, approached my wife, and I told her, I didn't ask her, I told her, I said, I can start drinking again socially after being 2 years sober. 2 years sober. I thought I was only 1 year sober, but a Facebook memory told me, no, you're 2 years sober, actually. 2 years sober, and I told her I could start drinking socially again. This was in the hopes of having 1 or 2 when we're going on a date or going out, something like that. And, I did that. I always had to rub, see, babe, I only had 1 tonight. I only had 2. Before it started gradually just increasing. So by the time Life of a Native is being released, I am already, drinking again. Thinking that I have it under control. And when I released Life of a Native, it went viral. It went being shared with my people all across Canada. And everybody was leaving all these amazing comments like, oh, you're such a role model, you're such an inspiration, like all these comments. And you guys gotta remember, I'm unhealed. I know how I am when I'm unhealed. I'm a very egotistical man. I'm very prideful, and all these comments, all this attention started filling up my head. It's like a balloon. Just constantly filling it up with all of this attention that I'm getting. And here I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm back, man. I'm back to be a rapper again. I got it back, feeling myself. And this is never good for me. Because in this process, as this Life of a Native is going viral, getting attention all across Turtle Island, I approached my wife. Again, I'm a manipulator. I'm a narcissist, you guys. I know how to talk my way into anything at this point, man. I've done it for years, and this one night I manipulated Miranda by saying, you never let me go out with my friends. Because of you, I don't have any friends. Because of you, I said. I had the audacity to say that. Like, that's the person I was. It got to the point where she was like, okay, go then. Go with your friends for one night. I'm an alcoholic because when I start drinking, I can't stop. I don't have to drink every day, but when I start, I can't stop. And that's why I'm an alcoholic, and that's why I fell off so many times. And now one night that I was supposed to go out, just one night, it turned out to be a 3 to 4 week long binge. I lost count of the days. I know it was for sure 3 weeks. While everybody was leaving all these amazing comments on sharing Life of a Native, thinking I'm this big role model, that this is what our people need, saying all these amazing things, little did they know that I was going to hit the lowest point of my life. Because in the process of this binge, Miranda had no choice but to finally say, that's it. I've had enough. And I commend her for it. Because it was a hard choice, but she knew she had to make it, not for just herself, but for our kids, because of what I was constantly bringing back to them. But you guys got to remember, I always have to make myself feel good. I have to be the victim in this. Again, twist words, say hurtful things like, oh, whatever, I don't need you. I'll go find somebody else. All this nasty stuff. It got to the point where I was just off drinking, partying, and she phones me one day. She's like, you got to go to Edmonton. You got to go get your stuff. I already got everything out of the house, and I'm already moved back to Meadow Lake. I'm already moved back with my parents. And I'm like, what? She's like, yes, the landlords want their house. Go get your stuff. Again, I still got to make myself feel, whatever. I'll go find somebody else to build a family with. I'll go get a bigger house in Edmonton. I'll go talk to the landlords, keep this house, and bring somebody else in. That's what I was saying. That type of nasty stuff. But reality checks are all how I always get checked back into reality. And when I opened my door and I saw all the pictures off the walls, all the furniture gone, it hit me to my core, realizing that, damn, this is real. It was like my first reality check in this whole process. And I had to really process this, but again, had to make myself feel better. And, my friend that I was feeding off of at the same time, I told him, I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to go into my home studio, because that's the only thing that was left for me was my home studio and a TV. I'm going to go into a home studio, and I'm going to create a party song, bro. So we can go get all these girls Like, that was my mentality. I'm gonna create a party song, go get all these girls with this song, da-da-da-da. And he was like, yeah, bro, go do that. You know, at this point, I'm far into my binge. I'm at this point also doing drugs. You know, I'm far into this binge. So as I go into my home studio, I'm intoxicated. I'm not, you know. And as I'm looking for a beat on YouTube, a party beat, something to make you like dance, I ended up coming across a slow beat. I came across a slow beat, and music is my outlet. I didn't know it up until now, but music is how I heal. It's helped me heal so much. It allows me to release all the emotions, say the things that I'm supposed to be saying that I hold in. Music is how I release that. That's how I connected with my listeners for so long. I came across a slow beat and I automatically started connecting with it. It's like, I have to write to this. So I ended up writing a song. I ended up writing a song for my family, for Miranda, for my kids. Everything that I should have been saying to them came through that song. I wrote it, recorded it, and I did a little mix on it. And I could hear it being played back to me through the speakers in my studio. I could hear the whole song. And this song saved my life, you guys. My outlet saved my life. Check. Mic check, 1, 2. Yeah. This is the song that saved my life, you guys. Listen to the lyrics. Cause I've been sitting here in the rain again, trying to find my way through this pain again, yeah. But I've been doing this to myself for far too long. Cause I've been sitting here in the rain again, trying to find my way through this pain again, yeah. But I've been doing this to myself for far too long. I'm sitting there just thinking about all the pain that I've been holding out. But lately it's been taking a toll and I can't cope. And lately it just feels like I'm all alone. So I turn away and I run from home, leaving my family behind with no hope. I'm sorry for the hurt I've been bringing you, but daddy never learns that his demons rule. I'm dealing with some trauma that I hope you'll never know. Cause I've been sitting here in the rain again, trying to find my way through this pain again, yeah. But I've been doing this to myself for far too long. Cause I've been sitting here in the rain again, trying to find my way through this pain again, yeah. But I've been doing this to myself for far too long. But even though this hurt never goes away, Daddy holds his word that he's gonna stay. I'll never let them take me away from you, no. Until I find my way, mommy keeps you safe. I know you see her cry and you see her pain, but that's because daddy let her down too low. But you can learn from daddy's mistakes today, and hopefully tomorrow I can come to stay. But for a little while I think it's best that I go.
This song literally dropped me to my knees as I was hearing it being played in my speakers. And it was in this moment where I finally said enough is enough. And I said, God, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to become the human that you meant for me to be. But I'm going to need your strength. I'm going to need your guidance. But I don't want to do this anymore.
Ooh, that's a very personal song to me. Every time I perform it, man, I literally put myself in my studio, in front of my computer, and I literally dropped to my knees. I dug my head in the floor, and I finally said, enough is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. The thought of losing my babies, not feeling their hugs every morning, they're seeing their smiles, and they're feeling their kisses, hearing their voices, it broke me. And I know I cannot live without the power of my family. I made the choice. I said, that's it. We're going to do this. We're going to dig deep. We're going to start digging deep, and we're going to do this. Talking to myself. It was that moment that I made the decision. And I'm proud to say that since that decision, I'm going on 5.5 years sober today. 5.5 years sober, man. Oh, just saying that feels good. Ooh-wee. Because they're not tears of sorrow, you know. They are tears of just pride. Because I knew that I had to get in control. My triggers had absolute control of everything that I did every day. You know, that's where it comes from, man. I'm going to be lying to you guys if I didn't think about having a drink every day. You know, having my choice of drug every day, I'd be lying to you guys. So it's like, how do I get ahead of that? How do I stay in control every day? And I knew I had to start handling my triggers. My triggers, every day, images, that scream, the violence, the drug dealing, everything, like the childhood, even the childhood trauma gets played in my head. As many of you, you know, it's constantly in our heads every day. We can't, you know, it's hard for it not to be there. And I want to get in control. So I ended up just replaying my trauma over and over and over again. You know, I put myself in a deep depression almost doing this. I don't recommend doing it because but eventually I came out of it and I started realizing, I'm starting to be in control. I don't feel like I need to run away. I don't feel like I need a drink. I started just building off of this, you know, and my family really fueled me. You know, it really fueled me for being this change. I didn't want to lose them. You know, and in the process of all this, actually, I'm going to talk about that. Maybe later on. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to, you know, this is Creator telling me this. Maybe I'm going to tell you guys how I handle this stuff today. And that's holding myself accountable each and every day. Each and every day I hold myself accountable. Whether it's even an interaction with somebody in my daily life on the street saying hello and I'm not saying and I'm allowing my energy just because I went through something, I'm projecting my negative energy on someone. I check myself. I hold myself accountable every day. And I did this right from the start. I had to. Because I realized that I was a reactive person. I was a reactive man. I was still angry. I was still held a lot of hate inside of me. And this made me a reactive person, but also made me a reactive parent. Made me not a good parent. So I had to realize, how do I change this cycle? How do I change this behavior? Because we have to realize we have behaviors passed to us from our parents. They had behaviors passed to them from their parents. All of this can stem from, residential schools, the intergenerational trauma, still having an effect on us today. And it's through these behaviors. My parents were reactive behaviors, reactive parents, and I took on this as well. I noticed I was doing that to my kids, continuing this behavior. I said, man, I have a lot of behaviors that I need to stop, that I need to, create new ones. And then I started realizing that our brain, our minds, our hearts have the ability, we have the power to create new behaviors for ourselves. New cycles. Doesn't matter your age. It doesn't. You could be an elder and you could still recognize an old behavior, an old pattern, and say, no, this stops now and I'm going to start creating a new one. That's the power of our minds and our hearts and our spirits and Creator behind us. I found this out and I started creating all these new behaviors and checking myself, holding myself accountable. And this allowed me to step into my healing in a way that I never thought I'd be able to get to this point and be able to share my story with all of my people. No, it wasn't until I went to a workshop called Heal Your Life. At this point, I'm thinking I'm deadly. I'm thinking like in 2022, I go to this workshop. I'm thinking I have it handled. Oh, I'm healing. I feel good. I'm sober. I think I have it all in check. Then I went to a workshop called Heal Your Life. My sister didn't tell me what it was. She just said, you're coming with me. The band paid for it. It's too late. So I was like, okay then. And she said, we got to go to Banff for 10 days. And all I heard was, Banff for 10 days? Oh, right. I can do that. So I go to this workshop, and it's all about self-love. It's based on Louise Hayes. It's based on her teachings of self-love. And I didn't know who this little white woman was. I never read her books or nothing. Didn't know what I was prepared for. So as I'm going into this small conference room, and where this workshop's going to be held, there's this little white lady in this conference room, and she's hugging everybody as they come in. And I was like, I don't want no hug right now. I don't want to be hugged. So as it gets to my turn, she's giving me my necktie and everything. I go out to shake her hand. I was like, I just want to shake your hand. But she swats my hand away, and she gives me this big hug, this little white lady, and she just squeezes really good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this little white lady knows how to hug. And I was like, man, but it just sent some good energy through me. But that's the energy that they created for this workshop, I felt safe, ended up feeling safe. And I was very uncomfortable in the beginning because as a man, they were singing, they were chanting, they were meditating, doing things I never did. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do any of this. My sister realized that, and she made me promise her, hey, you're going to do these things because you got to get the most out of this. And she made me promise her, and I'm like, okay then. So after the first lunch on the first day, I went back into there and I really committed myself to every exercise. And one of the first exercises that they threw at us was mirror work. And up to this point, every time I pass a mirror, it's always negative. It's always like, man, you need to lose weight. Oh, you look disgusting. Like all this negative stuff all the time. So I literally had to look at the man in the mirror. Small mirror looking at my eyes. And we do an exercise. She tells me, hold up in that mirror. Take a note of what's the first thing you say, but also say, I love you. I didn't even get to I love you. I held that mirror up and I called myself a fat. I was like, holy, why so negative? She comes, asked me to share. She's like, Cody, what did you say? I was like, I called myself a fat. She's like, oh. I'm like, I know. I don't know why it's so negative. She told me, hold up that mirror. I held up this mirror again, this small rectangle mirror. She said, tell yourself you love yourself. I love myself. Come on, Cody. Tell yourself that you love yourself. I love you. Come on, Cody. I love you. You know, I'm literally staring at my eyes in this small mirror. And I totally block her out. They just blank her out. I'm not even listening to her because for some reason, man, a puddle of tears started forming in the corner of my eye. And in that moment, all I saw was my trauma. Like just a blink of an eye, over and over and over again. I saw all those images. I saw everything like being played like a movie back to me. Boom, boom, boom. And this is where I realized that I wasn't supposed to be here. That I went through so damn much. I went through so much pain, but I was standing in that room. I was standing in that room and I made myself feel proud for the first moment, realizing that I should have been in a grave or I should have been locked up. I should have been somewhere other than that room. I said I felt proud of myself for the first time. I felt proud of getting through that accident. I felt proud of getting through that street life. And all of a sudden I came to. And I hear her finally can tune her in. She says, Cody, hold up in that mirror again and tell yourself you love yourself. Say, I love you. So I held up that mirror with this new pride, knowing that I was there. And I said, I love you. I looked myself dead in the eye and I said, I love you. I'm so damn proud of you. It was this moment that I fell in absolute love with myself. And when I realized that the secret to healing, the number one source of our healing is love. Sagito in, that's it. And I finally had it for myself. This workshop transformed my life into finally loving who I was and loving my past and where I came from and what I got through. Now I hold that close. I hold it proudly, knowing that my story is valid, that it needs to be heard. That what I went through, many of my people have gone through. Each and every one of you have gone through pain and trauma. That is the reality of our people. That is the reality of our communities. They did that. And we're still suffering today. But hold that pain, hold that trauma close. Because they tried to take us out. They tried to break us. But look at you in this room with your people. We are here together creating a collective energy that they didn't want us to create, but here we are. Be proud of that. Hold that close. That connection, when I said I am blessed, I am grateful, and I am loved. That connection, that is real. And that is the source of my power. I am a powerful man and I step into it and I accept it now. I have a gift to speak to my people. I use it. I am a service to my people until Creator tells me otherwise. I've managed to transform my life and transform my family environment. Try to be a better parent, hold myself accountable, try to be a better partner. It's hard, but I try every day, knowing that I'm grateful to be where I am now. That my pain, that my trauma has no control over me. And I travel across Turtle Island now in hopes to connect with my people to show them that it is never too late. Whether you are a warrior, whether you're a matriarch, or whether you're a youth, that it is never too late to start healing, but it's important that we start healing right away. I'm 39 years, gonna be 39 years old this year. 39, damn, jeez. I didn't start healing until I was 36, 37 years old. What if I started healing at 17 when that accident happened? Where would I be? Because I've literally transformed my life in the last 3 years that I never have thought possible. Just imagine if I started at 17, and that's the message I try to give our youth, to start healing now. I use my story. I say it in the exact way. I literally put myself back in those moments. But I come out of this motivated always. This is healing for me. Being in front of my people is healing for me. Being able to say this, to tell you guys that it is possible. Let's not give up on our lost ones, because I was once lost. Let's never give up, and each and every one of you are out there doing that hard work. Each and every one of you are committing to your community, saying we can still be that change. We can still change it for the next generations. You guys are doing that work, and hold that close, because the world likes to influence us. The world is so chaotic right now. It's hard not to bring in all that negative energy. You guys have to remember that doing that good work that you guys do is being able to hold yourself accountable doing that good work. Remembering if you're using an old pattern or an old behavior. And remember that we're creating these new ones. Because our youth, our communities, they feel the energy. They feel our energy. And if we don't come in a good way, we're not doing that good work. We're not providing that good medicine in the way that it should be. And I know that now. I go to communities trying to be my authentic self. That's why I can cry in front of you all. I've connected with a side of me, you may call it the feminine side of me, where I can show emotion openly now. Emotion that I used to block. I can be my authentic self. I want you guys to really ask yourself, can you be your authentic self? Because that's how I started. How do I become my authentic self? And it made me realize what I was doing wrong. What behaviors was I still holding on to? That self-love that I was talking about, that is the fuel for it. You got to make sure that you step into that every day. I step into that every day, and I really feel like it puts me on a whole nother level. Like Liz was just saying, I was in Kenora, Ontario yesterday. I was at White Dog First Nation talking to their community, doing a performance for them. It was last minute. It happens all the time. Mr. Joey Styles phones me up, bro, you want to come up? I was like, yeah, we can make it happen. And then on the way to White Dog, I said, I hope my plane doesn't get delayed. I was like, why did you say that? Why did you say that? Because I'm thinking I'm so powerful, because it's happened so many times. I'm so powerful that if I speak it out into the universe, that it's going to happen. So I start going on Google, what's the weather going to be like? Because I'm thinking I'm that powerful because this has happened to me before. But that's that energy that I can step into now, and I accept it. And I almost cried last night because I went on Facebook and someone said Ernest Muniaz passed away. I was like, what? I just saw him. Just one single tear just dropped. Only to find out that I'm still alive, you guys. Jeez. But it's tapping into this, that good energy, that good medicine, I like to call it. And we all have the capability to do it, each and every one of you guys. And, if you're going to do this work, it's hard work, you guys. I know what you guys go through. I know the hard work, I know you're battling a lot, but you're still pushing through it. And, while you're pushing through this, you may feel yourself losing yourself sometimes. Always remember to ground yourself, process what you're going through, and can just continue pushing forward, man, because you guys are really doing it. You guys are really putting in that work that needs to be done, and I look up to each and every one of you. Each and every one of you is an inspiration to me, reminding myself that if you guys can do it, I can do it too. All right, I love you guys, and I can't wait for you guys to hear the youth talk, their stories, because it is amazing. You're going to hear the impact our youth can have when they tell their stories, and you're going to leave here knowing that those stories are waiting to be heard in your communities. Like stories just like the ones you're going to hear today. I'm just proud to be in front of each and every one of you. You know, it's literally full circle. I started, probably my first speaking gig was for MLTC, Flying Dust. You know, that's how I started getting into this space. And here I am in front of all of you beautiful people, all of my peers. You guys, most of you know me. And I want to say that it is possible. Never give up on your lost ones. Let's keep fighting. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, sir. Cody Montour. Hi, and an Askaman. 1 second, don't go anywhere yet. We've got a gift for you. Liz Reed is going to present you with a gift. Thank you for sharing your message with us today. Let's give him another round of applause here. You went up and down and all around. He was about to take a week off work there, but that false claim that he passed away is not true. So everybody was about to put in their holidays. I was like, what the heck? He was just in Dillon last week, but he's just sick. He's just sick. You know, he's very influential in our lives, especially, some of those words that he shared, to take it home with you, you know, be able to stand up here and degrade yourself in front of people is something that, it's an art form as well, to be able to pass on that message. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I know we've kept you sitting here for a couple of hours. We've got some snacks available as well. One of the announcements here, when we start our Red Talks here, we're going to take a break, but we are going to take, when we start our Red Talks, or Youth Red Talks, this started about 10 years ago, I believe, 2015, 6 years? Okay, think Indigenous, so it's kind of started along 7. So it's been many years, couple of moons, and, there's going to be a lot of truth bombs from some of the young people here. They're given about 5 minutes. There's 8, 9 of them. 8 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes, and they're going to be dropping some truth bombs. But we're going to turn off the lights. The only light is going to be here. We're going to ask the staff to guard the doors. Once you're in here, you're staying in here. We don't want to interrupt the young people and, going in and out, stopping them. Some of them might be crying. Some of them might be talking about a family member that committed suicide or something that they had seen. Last week we're in up north there, Buffalo River, a young boy. I always remember these young kids that when we share our truth, when they say, my mom and dad drink and fight, it's very hard to be able to hear that. So we want to keep you in here. We ask the staff that they guard the doors, no in and out. Don't be trying to sneak away here. You've seen them all 16 times here over the weekend. Stay in here. But that's going to be, we'll be reminded here. At this time, we're going to ask everybody, you can take a break, and we'll be back here just before, in about 15 minutes. We'll keep the show going. So don't forget to get another entry, and we're going to do a couple draws. What do you say?